We have some breaking news coming out here. The Las Vegas Raiders have officially traded wide receiver Jakobi Meyers to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Today, we're going to talk about what this means for the Raiders as we kind of go forward. Adam Schefter put it out there, and I'm kind of surprised. I'm not going to lie to you guys. ESPN sources, the Raiders are trading wide receiver Jakobi Meyers to the Jacksonville Jaguars in exchange for a 4th and 6th round pick. Multiple teams, including the Steelers and Jags, had shown interest in Jakobi Meyers, who is scheduled to become a free agent after his contract expires this season. I'm surprised. I'm not going to lie to you guys. And I'm not surprised that he's traded because obviously we knew he wanted to trade. He made that very clear right before the season started. But obviously the Raiders didn't want to pay this guy. And with that, we knew he was going to end up getting traded. He had requested it. And, Jakobi Meyers is obviously a really good teammate. He's a good player to kind of have in terms of he played even though he did not have his contract and he did not have to play. And he knew he was probably going to be traded. But what surprises me about this is that the Raiders got a 4th and a 6th round pick. And I don't know if people realize how much value that is to get for a guy who's, essentially his contract's expiring. To me, I think this is phenomenal for the Las Vegas Raiders. You're not going to get a better, you're not going to get better value for a guy like Jakobi. Usually you get wide receivers that have expiring contracts. You're essentially just a pick swap most of the time. And the fact that the Raiders got what is equivalent to basically a 3rd round pick, right, a 4th and a 6th, to me, that's absolutely incredible. And I'm really, really, really excited for Jakobi to be able to go and play with the quarterback and hopefully a team that's willing to pay him. But then even for the Raiders to be able to, have some extra assets. We traded Kenny Pickett, obviously, for a 4th round pick. And now we're kind of getting that back, moving off of Jakobi. And also, let's just be 100% honest. Jakobi Meyers is a good wide receiver, but he's not super explosive. Jakobi's not going to make plays with the football in his hands. He's not going to break tackles. He's not going to make people miss. And he's also not, he's not really a burner. So I understand why for the Raiders, you don't want to pay Jakobi Meyers $20 million. But for the Jags, this is kind of interesting because now Jakobi's going to get paid at some point. Now, obviously, the Jags do have 2 good young wide receivers on their rosters. Brian Thomas is in his 2nd season, while Travis Hunter is in his 1st season. Both guys were 1st-round picks, so both guys are literally here for at least 4 seasons under contract, which means they have money to give to Jakobi Meyers for at least a short term. 2 to 3 years, $15 to $20 million. And it just makes sense for them to be able to kind of make that move. And then for the Raiders, obviously we're getting a 4th and a 6th round pick. A phenomenal trade by John Spytek. Hopefully the Raiders continue to make some of these type of moves. Let's trade guys we don't really need. Now, obviously Jakobi's probably the only guy I would say we really don't need at this point. But you never know, right? There's reports that Tyree Wilson could be shipped out of town. There's a couple other reports that Malcolm Koonce could potentially be shipped out of town. I wouldn't trade Koonce, if I'm being honest. I'd much rather trade Tyree Wilson, but that's only that too if the value is actually there for the Raiders to be able to trade him. Or if the value is not there, it doesn't make sense for the Raiders to trade either of those 2 guys. I'd much rather just see at that point Tyree Wilson develop. If Wilson can get a 3rd round pick, I'd consider it. 1st or a 2nd, definitely making the move, but I don't think anyone's going to be 1st or a 2nd round pick for Tyree Wilson. But really, really like the fact that we're able to get the picks that we get for Jakobi. Now, this obviously does change up our wide receiver room, right? It's going to just look so much different as we kind of go forward. And it'll be interesting because obviously Tyler Lockett played his 1st game with the Raiders, failed to get a catch, and he definitely played a lot of snaps, right? Tyler Lockett basically made Dante Thornton Jr. inactive, right? A healthy scratch, essentially. And now one of these younger wide receivers will have to play, right? In Jakobi Meyers' in his position, one of these other guys will have to play. If I'm a betting man, I'm going to make the assumption it's going to be Jack Bech, who already kind of took over the Dante Thornton job, right? At least before the Tyler Lockett signing kind of happened. But I think the Raiders wide receiving group is in a better place going into this week than it was, let's say, going into 2 weeks ago. Obviously, Brock Bowers is healthy. Michael Mayer is healthy. And that's one aspect of it. But then you're also allowing guys like Jack Bech to develop now. And you're telling this guy, you're a full-time wide receiver out there. And, with Jakobi and Jack Bech on the field, and this is what I mean, or I think it's better now. With both Jakobi and Jack Bech on the field, you have 2 wide receivers that are very similar type of wide receivers. You don't have a guy that's a true deep threat in those 2 guys. Bech could develop into a guy that's consistently getting targets downfield, but he's not that in his rookie season. So having both Jakobi and Jack Bech out there the way we did against the Chiefs, right, when Thornton first got benched, at that point, it didn't make sense to have those two wide receivers out there, which is why the Raiders said we're going to go bring in Tyler Lockett, right? Lockett's a guy that could technically go deep. And again, I understand, he's not the type of wide receiver he once was, but, if in the past, Tyler Lockett has been able to make, deep catches, right? Run deep, find the football in the air, bring the ball in. If he was able to do that in the past, which he obviously did a lot, he still has that skill set to be able to do that now. And I know he's older, but he still has the skill set to go up there. And if he's in single coverage, and even if it's tight coverage, he can still make the catch. With Dante Thornton, he hadn't really proven that he can make those catches in tight coverage. Jack Bech hasn't really proven it, right? And so again, just kind of going forward, I think our wide receiving group and how they kind of mesh together is a little bit better now than it was 2 weeks ago. And I'm not saying I think Tyler Lockett's better than Jakobi Meyers. I think it's just different, right? It's just a different type of group as we go forward. And who knows how Jack Bech can develop. Remember, the Raiders had made it known that if they weren't able to trade pick 38, they would have still taken Jack Bech. And honestly, I've seen some of the upside in Bech's tape. It's just a matter of time until he gets that confidence. And it's just a matter of time until it really clicks for Jack Bech. And I think the three wide receiver sets that the Raiders run, which is not going to be that often, but when they run it, the combination of Tyler Lockett, Jack Bech, and Trey Tucker, I think those three guys, it's a good combination to have. Tucker's going to go into motion a lot. Tyler Lockett will run deep or influence type of routes. And then Jack Bech will be, over the middle type, short concepts. But of course, the Raiders will still continue to run a lot of 2 tight end sets, right? A lot of 12 personnel. And that will be interesting to see if it's going to be Tyler Lockett and Trey Tucker or Trey Tucker and Jack Bech. That's going to be an interesting thing to kind of see as we go forward. Obviously, Lockett's still learning the system. He's still learning the scheme. So as we go forward, maybe he'll get get comfortable and get back on a page with Geno Smith. So we'll see what ends up happening. Also, I do want to just kind of point this out really quickly. The contract that Jakobi Meyers had right now. So his base salary this year was $10.5 million. And the Raiders have been paying him some of that. And his cap number was $14.9 million. However, by trading him, the Raiders will save some cap. Now, I'm not exactly sure how much of it'll be that will save. It'll be a prorated amount of this $10.9 million. So, he's essentially been here for like 8-9 weeks. Prorate that, you can basically say we'll save like $5 million or something around that, which is good for the Raiders, right? So you're getting a fourth, you're getting a sixth, and you're saving about $5 to $6 million in cap space. That's $5 or $6 million you can put into someone else, right? Alex Kappa's making $5 to $6 million a year. So maybe we get another Alex Kappa type of player. Who knows? Or we get a different player, right? A little bit more productive. We'll see. Either way, love the fact that the Raiders are able to trade Jakobi Meyers. You're getting good value. You're building for the future. You're making your players happy as well. And I think it's a big, big, big part of it that some people overlook. And then you save some cap. This is a huge win for the Raiders. John Spytek doing some good things. And we'll see, the trade deadline's in about 3.5 hours. We'll see what ends up happening as we go forward. If there's any other trades that end up happening, let me know what you guys think, man. Thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time with another video.